Welcome again to Sunday Cinematic Service, friends and burners in hell. We're covering again the work of Mr. Pirkle, Esther Pirkle.
Estebar Pirkle.
Estebar Pirkle, yeah. So yeah, we did If Footmen Tie You, What Will Trans Horses Do? And now we'll do...
What do you mean, Sarah Jessica Parker?
Yes, Sarah Jessica. Yeah. Okay. Second one is called The Burning Hell.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to it's like if somebody watched If Footmen Tire You, and then tried to describe it, but they only half remembered it. And they also mixed it in with a weird dream they had.
Yeah.
So it begins with a preacher, not Pirkle, describing the story of a Bible story.
It's Lazarus, isn't it?
No, Lazarus.
No, is that
Lazarus
later?
is what
Right,
Pirkle says.
It's
the opening Moses.
It's a story from Exodus where Moses is being is having trouble with the Jews. The Jews are complaining again, which seems to be like a running theme throughout Exodus. They're never happy with anything, but they have been wandering the desert for 40 years, so yeah, swings and roundabouts. But yeah, everyone's sort of complaining about this, and so Moses just full on just like opens up a pit in the middle of the ground and swallows all of these people who are disagreeing with him. And that's the story that we begin on. Because apparently this is potentially the first representation of hell in the Bible.
Then we cut to modern day. Pirkle is stood where this place is, we are led to presume.
Mm-hmm.
Then he talks. Then he goes to a story of him being visited by two random people who don't know who he is.
Yeah.
And then he gives them a mini lecture about hell and the dangers of motorbikes.
Because they're bikers, you see. That's what he's riling against this year.
Then one of the bikers, played by the commissar from If Footmen Tie You, dies by crashing his bike. The other one goes to a church where Pirkle is now in full-on preaching mode.
Mm-hmm.
Then the guy sits down, clearly blazing himself.
Yeah.
And Pirkle gives his sermon. We get more representations of hell, similar to in Footmen, when it would do the representations of the communist takeover of America. Then it goes on from there. Then an exact rip-off of the ending of If Footmen Tie You. Pirkle tries to get the high man on the motorbike to convert. If you're wondering, well, that doesn't sound like much of a film. It sounds like a rambling, half-remembered thing. That's because the film is an incredible mess.
Yes, it is.
With a Russian nesting doll style flashbacks within storytelling devices, within rhetorical flourishes. What did everyone think of Burning Hell, starting with you, Chris?
Well, Burning Hell, I found definitely more memorable than the first one.
Yeah, so crazy,
It just goes off the rails completely. Obviously, the last couple of years have not been good to Estes Pirkle. Physically he looks drained and...
He looks like he's aged about 10 years.
Yeah. Which we were shocked to find how old he actually was during the making of the first one. Was it 40?
Yeah, he was 42 when he made the first one. Yeah. And then he looks like 50-something in the second one.
In the second one, yeah. So obviously time has not been kind to our friend Pirkle.
He's now clearly wearing a wig.
Yeah.
We noticed at one point there's a big line where you can see the...
This one is batshit crazy. It just descends into complete and utter madness, whether it's representation of hell, whether it's cut into Bible stories with the worst costumes ever. It's the continued ramblings, and it is like watching the mental deterioration of somebody on screen. I'm actually quite interested because there's a third one as well.
That looks boring, though.
Does it?
Well, this film actually is kind of like Dante's Inferno.
Dante's Inferno.
Because that's a trilogy where one of them represents hell, one of them represents heaven. And who's to say that maybe, the communist America is purgatory?
Well, the thesis of the bikers when they turned up was that in fact hell doesn't exist. That in fact Earth is hell.
Okay.
And that we will ascend from this hellish plane that we currently live on. As most people are aware, this life is awful and horrible, and there is no joy to be found here.
Apart from when you're riding your sweet bike or out down the motorway.
Exactly. On a gravel path, and where you then sort of somehow get decapitated off screen.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. But yeah, and that in fact. The point of Christianity is to move beyond this plane of existence and to the higher one, and that hell doesn't exist because we're currently living in hell. And Estes Pirkle is like, no, that is not right. Your life could get much, much worse, buddy, and let me tell you how. And then, you get 50 minutes of him telling you how much worse things can possibly get.
And it is like stepping into like almost like a Fellini film. You know what I mean? Where, like he must have seen one of these crazy radical new art house pictures that the cinemas were starting to show.
I saw Amarcord and I did not like it.
Well, this is so it's the same director, Ron Ormond. So it's
Ron Jeremy.
Ron Jeremy.
The hedgehog. No, it's Ron Ormond, the same director, same exploitation director. But I feel like Estes gave him like a little bit more free reign. On it, because it's a lot crazier.
Yeah.
And like you were talking about how the central guy looks high. But yeah, like as I said when we were watching it, like the mushrooms are kicking in now, like at the first like flashback. The flashbacks or whatever are like just insane drug trips. They're just so good.
Well, they aren't really flashbacks, they're representations of hell and things.
Oh, yeah.
But like what it is it's basically like pitch black with a... I personally think, so basically the people are like, they're sort of coloured brownie, like a brownie charred colour. I think that's supposed to represent that their skin is burnt, and you had a different thesis. What was yours?
Well, mine was that in fact they'd put blood on them and then they'd try to put red filtered light on them, which would then create that sort of murky brown colour, because the light that's then coming off of the red, because it is brown or black. That's,
yeah. It looks terrible anyway.
Either way,
So it's just like there'll be a close up of one person screaming with a fire light vaguely in the background, and then what seems to be just like a lighter put in front of the camera. And it's terrible representation of hell.
I think it's wonderful.
I love the way they did the devil with like all these multiple colours on his face.
The devil is my favourite character.
He was great. He was wonderful. I loved the random guy who looked like he stepped out of the Seventh Seal.
Which one was this?
Well, he was wearing like a hood and he had the white face on him and stuff.
Was he supposed to be deaf himself?
Possibly.
Yeah.
But he was great, and it was wonderful.
It was wonderful. It's very fun, very ridiculous. Like I'm just gonna say with the storytelling, like to get back to the scene where Pirkle meets these two people, like that is like just emblematic of the problems of the film. So he says that two random people came to his house and were let in by his wife. They didn't know he was a preacher or he was Pirkle. So they've just come to his house to spread the gospel of this other preacher, Lang.
Yeah, Dr. Lang.
Dr. Lang. They both are also, they're in heavy... They're biking around as well. So I don't... Is he trying to portray these as like, dilettantes who've given up, like the hippies, or are they also Christians? Because it's a very mixed metaphor he's giving.
Well, no, they are Christians. See, I think what he's sort of railing against in this is modern interpretations of Christianity and different beliefs. His anything that veers away from his like fire and brimstone representation of Christianity is inherently bad to him, and that's the point of this, is that you can't believe these new age Christians, and with their ideas of salvation, and that a loving God wouldn't punish his people. No. You have to believe that. Again, going back to what I was saying, you have to believe in my cruel dictator, the one that will punish you for eternity for the slightest indiscretion in your life.
I love and all, like, we actually get to see some Pirkle acting in this.
Oh, God,
he has to pretend to be sort of angry at these youths.
Yeah.
And it is like, it's like Ned Flanders getting angry.
Yeah, well, he was also acting against the commissar, so, there's no way he's gonna, outshine him.
The commissar he wasn't given as much free rein as in the last film, but...
He's barely in this one.
He's barely in it, and we had a theory that maybe the church actually really hated the commissar, because he always give him, all the villain roles. And he even has an off-screen death, which he didn't deserve.
I so wanted him to sort of go over a ramp and then have a dummy on the motorbike and its head just go flying off.
In fact, we were all waiting for the moment, like, oh my God, he's gonna crash, we're gonna see it, and then when it just hard cuts to the crash, we're like, oh, come on.
That is shit. Yeah. Well, and I don't get it all, because they do a relatively, decent job of showing the people being sucked in the hell pit. You got people flying around, shaking cameras and stuff. They didn't cheap out there and just have them go.
Got people falling into a quarry. It's great.
Yeah.
They could have at least put a mannequin on a bike and pushed it over a hill or something like that.
Something, yeah. But I think they probably blew all the budget going to Petra. Where the massive temple is and stuff. They probably blew up the budget on that. So it's very indulgent. It's very indulgent. They go to Petra, then we've got all these kind of complicated quote unquote special effects going on, and it's a definitely more ambitious project than the last one.
20% of the budget is just Satan's face. It's just beautiful, and his elf ears that he's got as well. They work really hard on Satan, I think.
I'm just imagining the production meeting, laying this thing out. Okay, so we need to film the devil dancing scene, and then we're gonna go to Petra for 2 weeks, and then we're gonna just did planning go into this?
There's no planning.
No planning.
Any logical person would go, the commissar plays the devil.
That's
obviously. The role he was born to play.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, but it grown the sweet afro in the meantime. So
You're trying to say the devil can't have an afro?
No, he can't. He has to be slick.
Oh, yeah.
He's not the slickest devil we've seen this weekend.
No, definitely not.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah. Jesus. Right. Should we talk about the Lazarus scene?
The Lazarus scene, yeah. That pointless slog. That's probably my least favourite bit in the film. That
one gets a bit preachy.
Yeah. It's all preachy.
In fact, it's probably my least favourite bit in the two of his films that we saw. Just out of both of them, that was my least favourite scene.
Just a side note and all, the third one's not directed by Ron Jeremy, so
or Ormond.
Oh, Roy Ormond. Roy Ormond.
Roy Orbison.
Yeah. But so that one I imagine's more boring. Because it's not this crazy madman doing it. But anyway, back to the Lazarus scene.
The Lazarus scene. Well, you brought it up. Now you're having a drink of water.
Well, sorry. But anyway, the Lazarus scene. There's very little to it. It's the most sort of normal thing.
Yeah.
In it, the people ignore him. Then, you said he's very fat, Lazarus.
Yeah. Well, he's not very fat. He looks like a healthy man. He's like, I'm starving. I'm too weak to work. And it's you don't look like you've missed that many meals, dude. He's not fat by any stretch of the imagination, but he doesn't look like he's starving to death.
No.
We'll ignore that scene because it is too dull.
Yeah, well then, the guy goes and gets him bread, but insists that it's stale bread.
Stale bread, you hear? Stale.
Make sure it's stale. It's do you keep stale bread just for this? And then there's a party, then he has a heart attack, then he goes to hell, and then apparently he wants to tell his friends that they're wrong, Not because he has any sort of like inherent need to save his friends, but because selfishly he doesn't want his friends to blame him for sending him to hell. Like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It does lead to one of my favourite Estes Pirkle facts.
Pirkleisms.
One of his Pirkleisms, yeah. You heard it here first.
Some of the percolators.
A Pirkleism, yeah. Where he goes say, you won't be in hell for 10,000 years, not even 100,000 years, not even 1,000,000 years. Not even 1,000,000,000 years, 1,000,000,000,000 years. And then he cuts like a blackboard with like 33 zeros on it. Or like, this is how long.
Commas, I think.
That's it, 33 commas, yeah. This is how long you'll be in hell for. And it's like,
he goes, this huge number, this isn't even like a sliver of how long you'll be in hell. Like,
when you do this, you're no closer to
salvation. Yeah. That's just.
that's my
It's like,
favourite.
well, what's the point, Estes? Like, we already established the big number.
But very such a figure as like to get his point across, you could just do like the infinity sign. That's like, this is how long you'll be there for.
No one knows what the infinity is. No one watching this.
No, it's okay.
That looks like a Jewish symbol.
Is that in the Torah or something? That was my favourite Pirkleism about the two. Like, just.
I like to imagine in the production meeting that like Ormond and Pirkle, he was like, we need more facts. He was like, no, we need more we need more religious, we need more hell scenes. And they were like, we'll have one fact and then one hell scene.
But it's got to be a big fact.
That infinity is a long time.
Yeah.
That's his fact.
What a revelation.
Yeah.
A revelation.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can all agree though that Burning Hell is much better than. Would you recommend people watch Burning Hell first, or do you think it needs the context of?
You need the context of the first one. You need to get through the first one and then just see how he builds upon it.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I was just having a look at this as well. Burning Hell has a lower IMDb rating than like
If Footmen.
Footmen, yeah, like Footmen's like 4.2, Burning Hell's like 3.3. Like, I don't agree with that at all.
I completely disagree. Yeah.
Like, I think I apart from it being it narratively it's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
It's a lot more ambitious than If Footmen. So I think it's unfairly maligned. Well, the also the version that we saw was it didn't have the. It cut off before he did the
Come to Jesus.
Will you come?
We were all ready to start like reciting it along with him. Then the
No, they
video
just hard cut. So I'm wondering if like a lot of people like reviewing it have seen that version and are just disappointed that they didn't get their money shot at the end.
I will just mention one more thing about If Footmen that I forgot to mention before. I love the fact that he asks people to write him a letter at the end, and he just gives his name and the state.
The town and the state.
The town and the state.
I think that's fine though.
You think it would reach him?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, right, okay.
Like by the looks of it, he lives in like some like podunk little town. So like
Fuck America.
I think everyone knows like Estes Pirkle in that town.
Yeah, they probably reach the local post office and they've been out to get it there. So
they just dump it at the church,
along with all the other fan letters that he receives.
Yeah. Somehow gets to Urkel instead.
Urkel saves Jesus.
Urkel saves Jesus. Yeah. Anyway, ostensibly we're a religious podcast. What does this have to say about the good religion itself? It's similar conservative crap, really.
Yeah, it's similar. Yeah, at the core, it's a similar ethos to the first one.
Yeah, well, I was talking about it before. It's obviously a reaction to more sort of progressive ideas of Christianity and that sort of thing, and
the trad calves.
Yeah, well, not the trad calves. No. So looking at the idea of the eternal damnation and that sort of thing, and that being a very real thing, and probably about the worst aspect of Christianity really is this idea of eternal punishment for temporal crimes, essentially. Like you are punished forever for something that even if you talk about Hitler, let's say. This is gonna go.
We're going
Killed
there.
a lot of people. You know, mass murderer. Blah blah blah. Allegedly. And we wouldn't want his lawyers to sue. We would,
Well, I did like a little disclaimer at the end of it.
Well, should we not say which Hitler we're talking about? Like, it's people confused.
But yeah, so you could say that his crimes were over, 1933 to that's 12 years. Right. So what Christianity is saying is that for the rest of existence, he should be punished for that. Like, even the worst possible thing that, the worst possible thing that potentially any human has done deserves, never-ending punishment. It's just insane. As a concept, it's the full extension of the punishment not befitting the crime. I'm not saying that Hitler ultimately got away with it. To be fair, he
killed himself.
He killed himself, yeah, and there is no hell. So
to be fair and all, he would have been just killed by the Nuremberg trials.
Yeah, definitely.
There's very little chance they would have been we'll kill all these other people, but him, we'll just let him rot in a jail cell.
But yeah, he's but the point I'm making is that it even that is even what he did does not match the punishment of eternal damnation and punishment, and what they talk about in the Bible, being in the lake of fire and having your skin burned off only to grow back so it can be burned off again and stuff like that. It's complete insanity.
So then if you're average Joe Bloggs, whose worst crime is he rides a motorcycle.
You know what I mean?
It's
the commissar.
The commissar.
Who has, slightly different beliefs to Estes Pirkle, and he rides a motorcycle, and
he deserves infinite punishment.
Punishment. Yeah.
Yeah, it is insane. Yeah.
Another thing I love in this is the portrayal of heaven.
Yeah.
Because this has got the shittiest effects ever of him going to heaven, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I can't even. I'm trying to remember how it looked. Wasn't it some kind of?
No, it was actually pretty good because he's laying on the ground, and then he gets up. His spirit gets up out. There's the angel comes on. It's obviously an overlaid effect.
Yeah.
Slightly faded. So the angel comes in, and then he gets up, and his body's still on the ground. This is there's obviously some care that's been taken into this. It's a fairly simple effect to do, but I liked it. And then he gets up, and then when he gets up, he's had a haircut, and his beard's all neat, and his boils are gone. And then I think it then just cuts to him in heaven in his white suit next to Abraham and
Jesus.
And
Moses, isn't it, from earlier?
Yeah. It's Moses. It's Abraham, Moses, and Lazarus. Because at this point, remember, Jesus hadn't been crucified.
Yeah.
So this is old Jewish heaven.
Okay.
And there's some wonderful makeup effects. I think it's on Moses in it with a terrible big beard and the massive wig and
Santa Moses.
Yeah, Santa Moses. Yeah.
Jeez.
What a hot mess.
It's absolutely it's absolutely insane. It's again, it's not a great representation of Christianity.
Yeah.
I anyone who followed Estes Pirkle, you're my God, how you can sleep at night and call yourself a Christian? I don't know. It's just...
Them damn people watching television, they should burn in infinite hails.
Well,
he's over it, isn't he? Now?
Yeah, he's softened. He's softened on television. Television's fine because he probably realized that he could become famous from television and get his hateful message out more appropriately.
If I wouldn't surprise me if he became a televangelist or something along those lines, in the 80s.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I think he's probably a little too dry to become a televangelist. He's not.
He's boosted by the wonderful visuals quite a lot.
He's the thinking man's televangelist.
He's definitely going to be one of them that goes into the 80s being more of the social, like, you know, like anti-abortion, any help for AIDS. You can imagine him being one of them people.
Definitely.
It's
divine
God,
punishment.
Like.
Definitely.
To be fair to Waldo, I think it's good that he never made a film outside the 70s, because there are some things coming that he would not like, and he would definitely have strong opinions on.
Yeah, we talked about it in the last one. I would have liked to see some more modern Estes Pirkle stuff.
Yeah.
I think. Well, yeah, you said Ron Ormond didn't direct the third in his trilogy.
Yeah,
his trilogy that rivals the great trilogies, Lord of the Rings,
The Godfather,
Star Wars.
It's almost like James Gunn not directed the third Guardians of the Galaxy
movie. Exactly. Rehire Ron Ormond.
Hashtag rehire Ron Ormond.
Well, maybe though he thought, this is a portrayal of heaven. Where am I going to get my exploitation love from? Where's the fire and brim? There's nothing that bad in heaven.
Yeah.
Well, nothing bad at all, apparently.
No, there's just like three white dudes with beards sitting around looking down on people in hell and sort of going, well, you deserve this.
You get a comfy cloud bed, like, what more do you want?
Yeah.
The only thing I could imagine being funny about like the heaven one would be if it's like Pirkle's like speech and then cuts to like the people like being enthusiastic about it, but they look like they're gonna come again. Like he's like, and you get your own television, and someone in the like
that mansion thing.
Yeah.
Even like Lazarus was saying, what's the point in this crappy body I have? When I die, I'm going to get a mansion. And it's like, what? Where? What? That is definitely not in the Bible. I can guarantee you. Like, the word mansion wasn't even in existence, like, when the Bible was written.
That's some creative license on Ormond's part. It's like, we'll jazz it up a bit. No one's gonna want their own camel.
No, well, it's something that's pervasive through like the sort of evangelist like thing. Is this idea that you'll get a mansion, like for some reason God is like, some sort of like rich real estate tycoon or something. He's just got all these mansions he needs to give away to people.
He's just a monopoly man.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts, or have we covered everything with the burning hell?
I think if you're going to watch either of them, watch the burning hell.
I'd say so as well.
Yeah, if you only have time to watch one,
yeah, it's batshit insanity. Definitely makes up for its lack of actual structure. Like the surrealism of it is just it's just beautiful.
It's beautiful, yeah.
Well, I think this wouldn't work with a more structured thing, because it would fall apart kind of thing. It has to be this insane to.
Well, yeah, it does definitely. Like I think as an exploitation filmmaker, Ron Ormond had taken part in some psychedelic drug trips in his time, because he represents it so fucking well.
Oh dear.
Like, wouldn't you love to see him actually do a proper exploitation film though? Like, I don't know, like one about a crazy like a driller killer style one, or something like that. Wouldn't that be like good?
Like, did he do anything?
I don't know. I know that the story that he had a plane crash and turned to Christ, but I assume he made stuff before that.
Yeah. He's got a few things on here. Maybe we'll have to have a look into some of his his back catalogue, The Exotic Ones, White Lightning, Girl from Tobacco Row. Apparently, he was still even though he didn't direct, he was still a producer on The Believer's Heaven. So
okay.
Well, maybe it's good then.
The 1977 masterpiece that rivaled A New Hope
I
in
was gonna
cinemas.
say, yeah. Went up against Annie Hall and Star Wars.
So the best picture nominations were Star Wars, Annie Hall,
And
Believers Heaven. Yeah.
That's
What
it.
did win that? Oh, it was Annie Hall.
Annie Hall
wasn't it?
won, yeah, Annie Hall.
Robbed.
Yeah, robbed was Estes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine him giving his like Oscars speech? That'd be so good.
He'd have to be escorted off the stage, I think, after a while.
Oh, you liberal West Coasters, you're going to burn in hell. Your decadent lifestyle will lead you to the pits of damnation.
And he's got all these
And then
awkward
just-
cutaways to the audience.
The
and-
orchestra just like keeps swelling and he keeps screaming over them.
And the music keeps playing as he's been like dragged away. And, like... We were denied it.
Well, I'm imagining more like, you know, Marlon Brando when he won, he put like the Native American
Oh,
woman up.
yeah.
He just puts the commissar up in full
Yeah.
commissar outfit to collect it. With the shitty drawn on Soviet symbol.
Oh, yeah.
Just throws the Oscar on the ground and spits on it.
Capitalist
Goose
dogs.
steps off.
You know how I won this Oscar? I prayed to Fidel.
Alright, that seems like a good place to end it.